Are y'all ready for this? The new September through December mini catalog is live along with the online exclusives. I've been having tons of fun and have lots of inspiring ideas and artwork samples to share with you today. So go ahead and grab yourself a cup of something warm and delicious. Let's cozy up as I walk you through the catalog and we see what our favorite sweater weather and holiday season has in store for us. I have really been looking forward to sharing this with you. Who doesn't love fall and Christmas time, right? So let's go ahead and dive right in. I do want to point out this stamp, Standing Stronger Together. It's called Love and Courage. And this is a stamp that supports breast cancer awareness. So Stampin' Up is making a difference by donating a portion of the proceeds from this stamp set. And it's really neat. On one side, they have a sunflower, and then there's some encouraging words on the other side, and you can see how they've used that here. And I just think it's a really cool stamp. And of course, for a wonderful cause, right? You could send that to someone who may be going through breast cancer, or just it doesn't have to be just breast cancer. Love and hope can be encouragement for so many different things. But I do think that is beautiful. And then as we flip through the catalog, you can see we have some kits here. And actually, I want to show you this kit. So I got this fall leaf kit, but I have not had a chance to put that together. But let me show you this little guy right here because it is the cutest. This is called the Road to Christmas. It makes 8 cards. There's 2 different designs, so 4 of each. And of course, you have the instructions. This is a kit where everything is contained within the box, so it makes a nice gift for someone. But they're beautiful cards. So again, I made them as, except for one, I made them as is because really they are just so cute. So these are all little copies of each other. But I've popped the little tree and the dog and the sentiment up on foam. And I did ink up around the edge with just a little bit of gray ink, but you have these cute little pre-printed card bases, and you just punch out all of the ephemera and layer them together, sending loads of Christmas cheer. I just love the truck and the little dog here. So that's one design. And then I'll show you that one in just a minute. This is the other design. So we have a landscape and a portrait style. The truck is a little bit different. So you can see there's some differences in the pickup trucks there. And there were enough dogs in the kit, so I went ahead and added a dog to all of them because I just thought that's the cutest part. The only thing that would have made that better if it was a border collie, right? But I do love golden retrievers. So this one says Joyful Christmas Wishes. The sentiments are all stamped and they do come in all the different languages. So I popped this truck up, and the truck it has a slit in it. So you can actually layer the gift boxes and layer the dogs so they look like they're inside. Same here. This truck has a slit. I don't know if you can see that. So again, you can just tuck them in there and it makes it really, really nice. I love that attention to detail. And they do have coordinating envelopes. So you have this lovely plaid in the red tones on the inside of the envelope, and on the outside you have a row of trees that tie in with the trees there. I did end up with a few extra trees. I might put those on the inside, but if you wanted to add trees to these pickup trucks too, you could definitely do that. So I did. I was going to not alter them because they're so cute, and then I got a wild hair and decided to just kind of slice this one in half. And at first I'm like, oh my goodness, I just completely ruined it. But then I added a few details and I like the way it turned out. So I just cut, I don't even know, I just eyeballed it. What do we got there? So I made the front panel and then opened it and then cut off a chunk, and that chunk is 1¼ inches. So then on the inside, I put just a little torn edge of mossy or old olive cardstock, and then I put a tree and a dog on the inside. So we kind of made just like a little fun fold here. So these are fun to, alter them and try different things with them. So that's just an alternative version right there. But yes, the Road to Christmas, so cute. I just love all of the fun little inspiration they have scattered through the catalog as well. So this is the Keeping Tradition Scrapbooking Workshop, and I did get this. It's a kit that you can make these 3 double-page layouts, and I shared this during my unboxing, but we'll take a look at it again when we get to the actual pattern paper. And same thing for the Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop. So I already created a winter layout here on my channel. So I'll bring that layout in later when we get to the DSP, and you can see the side-by-side comparisons and differences between the scrapbooking workshop and just the designer series paper. So now we get to our quick and easy options, and we have some pocket cards here. These are beautiful. They have a really nice watercolor look. I had already opened these up and thumbed through them. I have a couple cards to share with you. So incidentally, these DVD cases that the stamp sets come in, I always repackage my stamps into streamlined thinner envelopes, but these are great for this purpose as well as some sentiments. This is coming up here in the catalog, but they're great for organizing smaller bits like this. So you do get, there's 4x6 and 3x4 cards, and there's 6 of each design. So my plans for these are to make some, use them in my December daily, which I scrapbook my December daily in a 6x8 format. So these are nice to put on those pages. If you do pocket scrapbooking, these are really fast and easy method to getting those pages done, or you can make cards with them. So I'll be doing a little bit of everything, but let's take a look at these and then I'll show you the cards. Let me set this out of the way. So again, you get 6 of each design, but I went ahead and sorted them out into the front and back. So we have Joyful Days. These are the 3x4s, and then you have this beautiful watercolor look on the other side. So there is one pair. This one says Christmas Cheer with this cheerful red plaid. And then on the other side are these watercolor pine trees. Absolutely beautiful. You could do that right on a card front, right? Add a little ribbon on the bottom, stick it on a card base, and you're good to go. So that's another set. This one says Merry Christmas, and you've got a deeper red plaid on the back, so a little bit more vivid, and then the deeper tones there. Very pretty. You could do that too. So this could be the bottom of your card, and then this could be your sentiment, and then you just put it on maybe an old olive background there, and I think that would be really pretty. So there's another set of cards. And then this one here, we have a tree with some red berries or little Christmas baubles, and then you have this watercolor like brush strokes on the opposite side. And then a couple more of the 3x4 designs. So here you could use this for journaling, nice little pocket or journaling card there. This one you could stamp a sentiment in there, use it to layer over, just a nice little wreath image there. And then this one, again, perfect for journaling. You could put this at the top of the card so you have the swag hanging down, and then add your story. And then there is a green and red plaid on the opposite side of that one. And now we have, so those are all the 3x4 sizes. And then the 4x6, the most wonderful time of year. So you can see that would be a great title on your scrapbook page, or if you're doing pocket pages again, just makes it fast and easy. You've got decoration and a title. The other side is this grid with a little bit of watercolor brush strokes there. And then we have this beautiful plaid paper. The other side is a whole row of these gorgeous watercolor trees. So these would be nice for outdoor pages too, not just Christmas. This one's definitely Christmassy with the red baubles, but this one could go either way. And then isn't that gorgeous? This one, again, we have journaling lines. And do you see how that would be perfect for? I keep thinking of my Alaska book because I'm working on my Alaska album, but really, really pretty. Absolutely love these. So I only had, there was so much to play with, but I did manage to create 2 cards using these bits and pieces. I have created these cards on a base of cherry cobbler cardstock there. So this is an A2 card size. So we have a 5.5 by 4.25, and you can see those gorgeous patterns there. So I did cut these down. Again, these are 4x6, but what made this one super easy, so I trimmed it down. So I trimmed off just to have my inner panel here is 5.5 by 4 inches. So I trimmed it down and then just cut off a strip of the bottom, flipped it over because the plaid is on the opposite side, and that is how I got this little border on the bottom. Simple little punch circle from Cherry Cobbler. I added a ribbon, some gold sequins, and you'll notice all the gold edging. So my sentiment here, which again is from this sentiment pack, which I'll be showing you here in a moment in the catalog, but that was already done in that gorgeous gold foiling. So that inspired me to bring in the gold around the edge. This is a trick I learned from my friend Katie Taylor several years ago at our 31 Days of Christmas Cards event. And it's very easy just to add gold edging to these. And this one is a 3mm tip. So it's a paint pen. There's Spectrum Noir metallic paint pen in liquid gold. So you can find these online and you just shake them up really well. You can hear that ball in there, and put something protective under it like an all-purpose mat and just go around the edge, and it's gorgeous. So I added a little bit of this gold woven ribbon here. That is from the Cheers and Sips collection. And then you'll see some berries that I have put in. And do you see those pine sprigs there? Those are from a set coming up. So I'll show you that when we get to that section in the book. But on the inside, I just put a piece of white paper and a little bit more of that plaid just to decorate the inside. This was a very fast, and it looks like I spent a ton of time on it. And same for this one. So I took our little Christmas tree here. I did up the edge in that same Spectrum Noir gold paint pen and matted it on cherry cobbler. Now for my background on this one, I have used this one here. So you don't even see that most wonderful time of year because I've covered it with my Christmas tree. And just I make sure to trim off the top and bottom so you're getting it centered. You can see I've centered this. And again, we have a cherry cobbler for our base. And I put a little bit of that plaid on the bottom and then added another season from our sentiment pack here and a little bit more of the ribbon and some sequins. Really, really pretty. Again, looks like I spent a ton of time on it, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. So you could make up a whole set and just keep replicating these cards because again, you get 6 of each design. So I'm really pleased with how these turned out and how quick and easy they were to put together, right? I know I asked last year, do you make different Christmas cards or do you make several of the same exact one? And there was, you know, a lot of you will make a couple of one design, but then you like to try something else. And there's some of you out there that will make a whole bunch of just one design. So what do you do? I, of course, enjoy playing with all the product and making different Christmas cards, but I do usually make a couple or a set of each from each line. Speaking of fast Christmas cards, here on the next page, we have our mix and match greetings for you mix and match ephemera, which is what this is. It's a whole bunch of sentiments. And again, perfect size to fit in these containers. But you can see they all have gold foiling and they say things like "'Tis the season, season's greeting, joy, Merry Christmas, merry and bright, Happy Christmas." So lots of fun little punch outs, and they're stickers too. So they actually have a peel off back, and that makes them even faster, right? You don't even need to add adhesive to those. So this is the greetings for you mix and match ephemera pack, and then we have envelopes and then a 6x6 paper pack. So this is a great page with tons of inspiration. They have used the bits and pieces to make tags and then these cards here. So we've got the card bases and envelope packs, and then also there's a whole bunch of both card and scrapbook layout sketch designs here. Really great jumping off points. So don't forget to, make note of that. And that's always a great place to start when you want to dive in your new products. Just pick one of these and let it be your inspiration point. Here are all of the designs from this 6x6 paper collection, Christmas tags and more. So you can see they have made these little shapes or rectangles, and they've used these to make all of these super cute tags. So you do get 8 of each. So 4 double-sided designs. So, and there's also pre-cut images, which I'll show you in just a moment. But this is the front and back of this paper. So you got the green on the back, and then you have the cute little tags there. And then you have this paper here with the ornaments, and this is the back. It's just a nice little simple pattern there. And then you have some greenery, and then this really cool like wreath image And then you have this nice little tan pattern on the side there. So that's another set. And then some more plaid. I absolutely love traditional Christmas plaid. So this just makes me so happy. And this really cute little pattern here. So I have gone ahead and used some of the inspiration in the catalogs to, oh, I do want to show you this too. So I keep all my 6x6 paper pack in these are the Kato envelopes. I have them for 12x12 and the smaller ones. That's how I keep those organized. And with this pack, you got 2 sheets of punch outs. And I did go ahead and punch them out and then used one of the little DVD cases to add all of those little bits of ephemera in here. And now it's like I have some scraps too. So these are offcuts from some of the pattern papers, but these are such cute little shapes. We've got some candy canes and Christmas trees, poinsettias and presents and stockings and greenery. Lots of fun little bits and bobs to decorate your scrapbook layouts. Perfect size for a December daily or even on your larger pages or cards. So I made several cards with these. Let me go ahead. I just saved that so you can see they do come on a little carrier sheet there. But let me set these aside and bring in the cards I created. So again, when in doubt, start with the catalog for inspiration, and it just gets you going and gets you creating. And once you kind of cut into that paper pack, things get going. Those creative wheels start turning. So you can see this card design right here. They have used the tan and gold plaid card base, and then they have the ornaments and then the season's greetings. So I did replicate that and made it exactly, except I did pop this up. So that center panel of the ornaments is popped up on fun foam. I did add a little bit of sequins from my stash, and then I added the green on the side. So that is the garden green color. You can see they don't have that in their sample, and I just thought it needed a little something to further define those edges. You could also cut these card bases in half and double them by putting them on just regular white card bases because you have that gold plaid on both sides, or brown and gold plaid. So we've got the brown and then there's the green. Those are your done card bases and matching envelopes. And these are a little bit longer. They are not a traditional A2 card size. So they are 6 inches in length, actually a little bit longer, like 6¼ by 4¼ but the envelopes are designed to go with that size. So you can see here we also have the poinsettia with the Merry Christmas. I quite liked that, so I went ahead and did that one as well and followed it just like the example. And then this one inspired this one, so you can see how they're very similar. I just used a different sentiment, and I used the bird and the little holly instead of the poinsettia, and added a few little red sequins from my stash. And you can see where this was inspired by this one. But these are punch outs too. These little banner pieces and this little layering piece, they're all punch outs from the ephemera pack. So again, really fun to put these cards together super quick and fast. Now this one is, the sprigs are from an upcoming set. I've added Merry and Bright. I popped that up, and then we just did a little layering. So the stockings are from this little cut apart sheet here. And whoops, where'd you go? So this little cut apart sheet, I cut out the stockings and then used this pattern paper. We just did a strip of that, added a few sprigs behind my sentiment and popped it up on foam, inked up the edges in a black. Looks like I did black on that one, and then used the brown card base. And I thought that was really pretty. And then this one, I decided to actually cut them into a tag shape. And then I used this tiny little hole punch. It's a 1/8 inch hole punch to punch some holes and add a little bit of twine just to further make that tag look. Again, I added another, all of these, I used the greetings from this ephemera pack here. And this little pine sprig, again, same one I used on this one. And I thought that was pretty cute. So we just did a little banner. I did end up cutting this banner. So this banner was short like this one. So I cut it behind the tag, and that way I could make it look longer. And I just chose I was having fun with the candy canes and the little tree there. And I don't know if you can see that on the candy cane. Can you see the sparkle and shine a little bit in the light? I added Wink of Stella to the red parts. I just brushed it on there to give it a little sparkle because it's Christmas, a Christmas card. So you got to have a little sparkle. Now, this one here, these are A2 card sizes. And I want to find the paper here. So this is the pattern paper that I started with. And I just cut it down so that we had a little bit of the brown pattern on the side. And then we have our garland going up. Now there are coordinating sprigs from the punch out sheet. So I used the ornament and then added a few of those just to kind of fill it in. And then the word joy from the mix and match ephemera pack there. And I thought that was pretty cute. I added a bow from the punch out sheet and then the little red sequins there. So this is kind of a spin-off from that one where I used the little ornaments and then hung them from a little sequins and put 'Tis the Season. But you can see I added the little punch out ephemera in the same way I did this one. And you can see the gold. So I put the gold marker around the edge and then drew a line, not with the three. This comes in a 3-pack. So there's like a chisel tip, the 3mm, and I forget what the smaller one is, but the smaller one is how I did the little gold strings to hang the ornaments. And I popped those up on some foam tape along with the 'Tis the Season. I just realized I need to put some white paper on the inside of those cards. So you can see how I was just having fun mixing and matching the pieces. The only thing I brought in was the sequins, the red sequins, and then the pine sprigs there on this card and this card. But otherwise, I used all of those, elements from this pack along with this pack. I hope I'm not talking too fast. I know these catalog walkthrough videos with the artwork share tend to get really long, so I'm just doing my best to move right along through here. But there really is. You can flip through this thing so many times and find a new detail each and every time. Now, I absolutely love the nativity scene stamps, so I do have this, but I did not get a chance to create with it yet, but it's called A Child is Born. It is a clear stamp. So I've got some ideas that I've been making note of, and as soon as I get a chance, I'll ink this up and make something to share with you. But I think this is really beautiful. And actually, I really like the softness of this card here. They've just done the outline. It does look like they've done some maybe gold embossing. It could just be a tan ink as well, but it looks really nice. And I am excited to create with that one. Now, this is a nice big Merry Christmas. You can see that takes up, good space there on the card front. So that is a beautiful font, and that would make some nice Christmas cards as well. And then here you have seasonal tags. So these are smaller sentiments, and you can mix and match them. So you can have Merry, that's scripty, Christmas, or Happy Holidays, or you could go with the same font, Merry Christmas, which is smaller. And then you have some nice berries or snow, like little scatter splatter stamps. They're using them as berries, and a cute little pine tree and pine sprig, and then of course to and from. So that's nice to make little tags with those. This one is called Builder Blossoms, and you can see it's like a layering stamp. So you would keep going around and you would just put all your petals in a circle and then layer that over the top, or maybe that one, and get some fun little floral effects. Those kind of look like little pansies or something. This one is super cute. It's called Woodland Scenery. You've got a little cabin, some bare trees because it's winter and they've lost their leaves, and then a bear and a little woodland deer, logs, snow flurries. So you can create quite the cute, cozy scene with that. And then a sentiment stamp called Wishing You Joy. Now here we're getting into lots of cuteness in this box. They've made up like a box of ephemera to gift, and I think that's a really neat idea actually. But this is called, this is the whole suite, and it is called Traditions of Christmas. So this is back in the beginning when I said that there was the Keeping Traditions Scrapbooking workshop. So again, I showed that one here in my unboxing video. But now we have the designer series paper and all of the goodies that go along with it. So let me grab those. And this is the Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper, and wow, is it so pretty, so pretty. So this is the paper pack. You can get this with the sticker sheet. So this is available also in the scrapbooking workshop, but I'll show you that in just a moment. But you know what first came to mind is December daily. So on my December dailies, I do a number on each page, and I only go up to Christmas, so 25th. So you have all the numbers here, so that would be great. But there's nice big titles: Christmas, the most wonderful time of year, oh what fun, making merry, merry and bright, lots of little like just decorative bits here, and very, very pretty sticker sheet. Love the poinsettia flowers there. So that's the sticker sheet. And then before we dive into the paper, we do have some bling. These are the traditional sparkling sequins, and they're flat, so they would not be an issue going through the mail, and they have definitely no shortage of shine and sparkle. So they have all the coordinating colors to go with this paper collection. I also got the Christmas greenery stamp set. Now, I did not get everything. There is the traditional labels, and I'm struggling. Like, yeah, I still might get those. I don't know. I did get the embossing folder. It's a 6x6 square embossing folder. And I did go ahead and emboss a 6x6 piece of Mossy Meadow. Can you see that there in the light? Hopefully the light is catching, but it's very, very pretty. So we have this gorgeous wreath, and I'll show you a couple different ways here as we flip through the catalog on ideas they've shared to use this, but it's absolutely beautiful. So that is what the embossing folder looks like. Now we have the Christmas greenery, and oh, there it is. I'm like, what did I just do with that? So I've already repackaged this and then include the magnet sheet. So everything's in one envelope here. But I absolutely love the sprig and the holly leaves. And then I actually use this leaf set on a fall page. So you'll see that next week coming out here on my YouTube channel. But we have some outline dies that coordinate with images in the pattern paper. And then you have some standalone dies, again, like the sprig and the leaves and whatnot. So they also coordinate with the stamps. So you have these beautiful bouquet of flowers here. And this one would cut out this one. And then this one coordinates with this image here. So really, really pretty. This is a clear stamp. And these images you could color, and these are solid. So lots of different things you could do with this set here. And again, some of those do coordinate with the paper. So I did not get the ribbon either. I don't know how I forgot that. So this is one of the ones I made a mistake and thought I got the whole suite, and I don't know what happened. It was apparently I didn't have enough coffee that morning before I placed my order. I think that's what went wrong. So let's go ahead and look at these pattern papers. I've already got them all flipped over so you can see them. And one thing I'll point out is there is gold foiling in the designer series paper, and that you do not have that gold foiling in the scrapbooking workshop. So that is a difference. And you'll see some of the patterns are different as well. So I really love how we have these big, bold, traditional Christmas florals with a more, simple pattern. I think that's really, really nice. And then we have these beautiful flowers here. They're like a pink poinsettia mixed with the white and green, and then a nice little polka dot on the back side. And then we've got this one, and that looks like those coordinate with these dies, and yep, they sure do. So that cuts out all of these shapes on here. So those would be beautiful as ephemera, like embellishments on your layout or card fronts. And then the back side is this gorgeous secret C with a little diagonal stripe there. And then this is the other paper that coordinates with the die. So you have this outline die that cuts out these bouquets that you could put on a card or again on a layout. Nice green stripe on the other side. And then the last pattern is this one here. So we have more little poinsettia images and then more of the secret C and a nice little pattern on the back. So absolutely gorgeous. I do not have anything to show with this paper because I actually just got this paper very recently and didn't have time to cut into it. And then for my scrapbooking papers, I want to use those for scrapbooking. So stay tuned here on my channel. I will have layouts featuring this paper coming up very soon. So let's take a look at the workshop. We saw in the beginning of the catalog the layouts, but you have the full color guide here. And as I said, I do really like these, so I'll probably be using them as my jumping off points and then just kind of tweaking them to work with my photos. So they tell you exactly where to put everything, the measurements and all the cutting guide is on there. And then let me just show you these papers really quick here so you can see the difference between because sometimes it's like, oh, do I want it all? Yes, we want it all. Or maybe you just want to pick one or the other. So you'll see we still have like this little green plaid's the same, the secret C's the same, the polka dot is the same. This one is different, so we don't have the gold foiling. So that is this page here. Same pattern, one with foiling, one without foiling. So sometimes this can be really busy on a scrapbook page. Not that you can't use gold foiling on a page, you absolutely can, but they'll tend to tone it down to make it easier to create scrapbook layouts. So far the same, just don't have the foiling. And then this one is looking very familiar. Where'd that paper go? So these are the same. Just again, they've ixnayed the gold foiling there. So those are the pattern papers. So you don't get all of the papers that you see here. It's a little bit smaller, but you do get cardstock. You get all of these fabulous punch outs. So this is a big highlight of the scrapbooking workshops for me. You get the title options. You get these large bits of punch outs to decorate with. We've got journaling tabs and then layering tabs, all sorts of great little elements to create with. So we have some scallop borders there, more journaling and little punch outs, and then you get bonus patterns. So these are not in the DSP. These are designed strictly for the scrapbook layouts, and I really like that one. That's very pretty. This one here's my favorite. So we have this kind of like grayscale, although I think it's more like the secret C color. So we get two of those to create on. And then you see this same pattern paper here that we looked at. There was two of these. They just kind of got separated. And then all of the cardstock you need to create those layouts. So tons of cardstock. And then again, there's that sticker sheet that's included in the workshop. So I have two sticker sheets. I can use one for layouts, one for my December daily. And then you get all of the photo place card holders if you want to create those projects without having your photos. So maybe you just want to be ahead of the game and get everything put together, and then you can just add your photos throughout the Christmas season. That's always a great way to use those little photo place card holders. I know I say it all the time, but I really do love those traditional colors. So when we flip the page, you can see how they have used that embossing folder. So that's that same beautiful leaf embossing folder, but they've cut it down so you just see the little texture around the outside. So it looks like they cut it down to an A2 card size. And then here, they just used it as a center focal piece, and this looks like a 6x8 layout. So that'd be great for December daily, and I think I just might replicate that and create that look in my December daily. So you can see they're doing some water brush painting technique on just the raised area of the embossing folder. To get that, you just give your ink pad a squish squish, and then you get a little ink on the lid and add a couple drops of water with your water brush. You fill these up with water and then just drip it into the ink pad, and then you can color like a little water brush coloring. So it's a very easy way to add color to your images. And then let's see here. Look at all these fun little things to create with. So this is just more of the traditions of Christmas suite. Lots of different little examples. I always like to look at these and think, ooh, that'd make a nice little cluster on my layout. Now, this one, this paper pack, the North Pole delivery, I don't have it. You guys, this thing's like gone into my cart, out of my cart, into my cart, out of my cart, back into my cart. And currently it's out of my cart, but I am struggling. So you guys can all make bets to see if I cave and end up getting this collection. I know Janice got this and she will probably make me put it right back into my cart. So we'll see. We will see. It's adorable. It's very whimsical and cute, and I absolutely love the critters. And there's some really cool papers in here. So if you look at this one here with the little town scene on there, and then the dogs, and this one is actually really pretty with the postage stamps on there. This one has like Christmas letters and more little critters here. It's so cute. So I am, like I said, struggling on this one, but I did get several other Christmas collections, so I was trying to control myself. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see. Let's place bets to see how long it takes me. But here they have some examples of how they've used them, and they are adorable. So the die in this set makes these cute little boxes. So if you love making goodie boxes to put things in, this might be really fun and something you would enjoy. Like I said, I know Janice got this, so we should all stalk Janice's YouTube channel to see what she does with it. Now this one is the Peaceful Garden Collection, and I do have several things to share with you here. This is just so pretty. I created this layout very recently here on my YouTube channel. I'm documenting my son Hayden and his girlfriend Desiree. They were on a trip to South Dakota, and they were in the Badlands and then Custer's Park and then Mount Rushmore. So it was snowing, and I thought this paper was absolutely perfect for documenting these photos because of the color. So you can catch this here on my channel. Again, it was just a very recent video, but I used, this is from the Designer Series paper collection, and then these are all punch outs from and stickers from the scrapbooking workshop. The Snowflake is a stamp and die set coming up soon, so I'll share that with you. But this is an alternative layout design that I did with the Peaceful Garden collection. Now, these cards were inspired by artwork in the catalog, and then some I just kind of came up with on my own. So this one here was inspired by a combination of two projects. So here they've shown the pattern paper embossing, which they've used there with that sentiment, and then this one here with the doves. So we kind of just rotated that. I say we because my son's girlfriend Desiree, who is in these photos, was here making cards with me. We were just having a great time, and we spent the whole day watching Gilmore Girl reruns and making cards. And boy, did we make a giant mess, but we were having fun. So I have again used the embossing folder. So this is the embossing folder with that gorgeous pattern around the outside, and then the dies coordinate with the center of the embossing folder. So I cut out some paper. This is basic beige, so I loved the contrast of the basic beige with the white of the doves, and then I've used some of that glimmer paper, and that's the one they're calling dark gray, but it does look like Secret Sea to me. It actually reads more like Secret Sea, which is what I have created the base of this card on. So again, the two doves, just love how they're facing in, framing in our Peace on Earth. So that is the stamp set from this Peace on Earth stamp here. Again, that's a clear stamp. Got our little doves, and then I put the teeny tiny little sprig in the dove's mouth. So I thought that that was really, really pretty. It's kind of hard to see that embossed detail on camera, but that is one card. And then we have another. I just love the doves, so really all about the doves. And I kept with the same color scheme. So again, we have the basic beige here, and I went with a different sentiment. I'll find where that one came from in just a moment, but went with the pattern paper. So we have a white base, we've got basic beige, the pattern paper in the center, more of the little pattern paper strip, and then these just gorgeous sprigs. This little sprig here, again in that Secret Sea Glimmer paper, and Secret Sea on the base as well. So let me find that before we get going, and I forget to mention where that came from. Here it is. It's called Jolly Holly. So you can see bright and happy Christmas wishes is where I got that sentiment from. And this is a clear stamp. So it makes it nice and easy to line up on the paper there. And then I also used this sentiment: may the spirit of the season bring you hope, happiness, and love. And I have used that on this card here. I've got my Spotlight on Nature circle die, cut that out of basic beige, and then we've just kind of anchored this whole cluster with a couple of those Secret Sea sprigs, a little bit of twine. We've got the bird offsetting the tag. So that is an embossing folder. I believe it's still available, but that has been around for a bit. But I just wanted some texture on the tag. Now, I used this shape to create the tag. So you don't have to, you can see that it is the same decorative end, which looks great when you use it like this. But I wanted to create a tag, so I just did partial die cutting. So I used the larger one here, and then I just hung that off the edge of the die cutting plates so that it did not cut. So I got this great little decorative tag topper, and then again I used my hole punch wherever that went. It's getting buried over here. My little 1/8 inch hole punch to punch a little hole to make that look like a tag, and so I could put in a little bit of twine there. But I absolutely love how that turned out, and I thought that is such a great way to get more use from this particular die set here. So lots of texture going on there. Really, really love the way this card turned out. So pretty. So let me scoot this one out of the way. And then this design is actually a spin-off. So this was a kit where they had a Creativity Now class where you could make some pre-designed projects, and they had strips like this. So I kind of altered mine a little bit. This is a design I love to do. It's great for scraps when you're finishing up a paper pack and you just have bits and pieces. This is a great way to do that. So I just wanted a little sympathy card, so I stamped that on a white cardstock, surrounded it by some of the different pattern papers, and then we've just done an array of those little sprigs and tied it off with a little bow there. So I thought that was really pretty. But I really love how this set of cards turned out. So I've used this paper with some snowflakes, but we'll wait till we get to the actual snowflake before I share those with you. I should show you the sympathy sentiment is actually from this collection, the Peace on Earth. You can see that there with deepest sympathy. So this is a very nice, you can have some Christmassy sentiments like peace, love, and joy, but they have all the best in your new adventure. So someone moving on to a new job or moving, anything like that. Heartfelt prayers, peace on earth, again, very Christmassy. And then big hugs for a good friend. So really just a nice, set of sentiments here, very well rounded for different occasions. Now, this next set is very cool. It is called Lights of Aurora, definitely inspired by the Northern Lights, but this is gorgeous. So we have 6x6 papers. There is a stamp, this amazing die set. We've got some ribbon and bling, and I did create some artwork based off of these cards, which I'll show you those in just a bit. But let me bring in all of the papers so you can see those a little bit closer up. I just about got the whole suite with this one, but I did not get this stamp set. I've got the bling. So this is called the Frosted Iridescent Dots, and you can see I've already kind of used those, but we've got just frosted iridescent colors there, and they're very pretty. They coordinate with these. And then I'll show you the die set in just a moment. And here are the 6x6 papers. So this is kind of a jumbled mess because I already went through it, but you can see how these are just inspired by the Northern Lights, and they're so gorgeous. And the back side is a beautiful color, but you can see some like distressing and just variables or variants in the shade there. It's not a solid. So I think these are absolutely gorgeous, and there's just so many fun patterns to create with. Have you seen the Northern Lights? I have not. We spent a couple weeks in Alaska, but it wasn't the time of the year, ideal for seeing them. And then I live here on the West Coast, and there was a time where everyone in my county and surrounding counties they were all posting photos that they took with their cell phones, and they could see the northern lights, and I'm out there running around taking photos like crazy, and I could not see them. So I was so disappointed. So yes, I've not seen them, and I hope to see them in person one day. Now this one almost reads as a black, but I think that might be Secret Sea. But isn't that pretty? Just kind of unique. Obviously, it would be fantastic for documenting the Northern Lights, but I think you're going to see all sorts of fun ideas coming out featuring these paper packs and different ways that you can use them to scrapbook your memories. So let me grab the dies here. This is my favorite part. They are just amazing. So they're all full of paper bits because I've been creating like crazy with these. But you can see we have this great big row of trees and then a smaller row of trees. And then these all work together to create different like mountain and water, like lake layers and whatnot. So I'll show you on the cards. I think you'll be better able to see them in action. Now, you may have caught the YouTube video and have already seen this layout, but I wanted to show you just in case you haven't. This is a great way to use these dies. So we were in Alaska visiting Denali National Park, and I used this great big tree die here to make a continuous border across my 12 inches. And then this die is my mountain range. So these are the only two dies I used on this layout, except the clouds too. So I have the clouds adding a little bit of interest to the white space up in the sky. So really, really happy how this turned out. The smaller flower die cuts and trees are from the Scenic Adventure set. So they work well together, but I absolutely love how that border turned out. And I've got some ideas for some red rock photos too, like traveling through Utah using not the pine trees, but the mountains. And I can't wait to bring that idea to life. I have three cards to share with you. So, this first one was definitely inspired by this one right here. Now, again, I don't have this, so I changed up the sentiment, but I've used this paper, and the paper really does a ton of the work for you. So, you can see that right there in the background. And then the back side of this is what I use to cut the larger tree line here, and then just a little torn edge. We've got some of that ribbon and then some of the iridescent frosted dots there. Now, you'll notice my pine trees are shimmery, and that's because I brushed them with a wink of Stella. This is like glitter in a paintbrush. So you can turn any paper into a sparkle glimmer paper with your wink of Stella brush. So I thought that was really nice touch and a little shimmery effect to that card. So I did mat that with on a white card base, so we have a little white border there. This just goes edge to edge. So my sentiment is a spotlight on circle nature die, and just you're simply the best is one from my stash. So inspired by this. Now this one is more like a slimline card. I wanted to turn it into an A2 card size, so I adapted that to fit. But here we've got all of the layers, and it looks like we've done some ink blending on the background, but this is the back side of the papers with that, just color variance in there. So we have the Blackberry Bliss is the large trees. And then I've used pattern paper along with this die to create that organic edge that looks like a lake shore. And then we have Gorgeous Grape for the smaller row of trees, and then our mountain layers. So this big background layer is this one from white cardstock. And then again, I use the pattern paper to create the second layer, and it has like the little cutout details. And then of course the clouds. And I did add some shimmer brush to the clouds as well. And then the sentiment is leftover from a card kit. I do not remember which one, but I have like a little bin of leftover sentiments. So I just kind of rifled through there and picked one out that I thought would look good. And then just kind of loosely looped that ribbon underneath there to soften the edge between this paper and the tree rose. They also have ribbon there. So I just kind of hijacked that idea. But really, love this. Isn't that super pretty? And it's fun to play with these colors. I don't get to use purples and pinks and all that very often. Now, this is a card design I learned from my good friend Jama, and these are the Everyday Arches dies. They're a great set of nesting arches. So I've done the pattern paper, the blue side, just like we've done here. I found a stamp from my stash that would fill that space nicely. So I stamped hello. And then I just went with the big mountain layer and then the small row of trees. But this is a fun fold cards that opens like this, and then you can write your sentiment on the inside everyday arch there, and then they just kind of line up. But yeah, Jama taught me this card at our creative design team birthday card event, and now it's kind of one of my go-to fun folds. So again, the paper does all the work for you on this one, creating those stunning backgrounds. So these were really, really fun to create, and just start with this what you see in the catalog. It's just a great way to get you going and cut into that paper. Are you ready to jump into the fall collections? So this first one is Autumn Toile. Now, you guys were so nice in my unboxing video. I said Autumn Toil and totally slaughtered it. And everybody was very nice and gave me grace. I'm sure some of you were snickering as I mispronounced the word. But, you know, it doesn't even, yeah, it doesn't spell toil either. So it rhymes with fall. Just think Autumn Toile rhymes with fall. We have some beautiful card examples here, and these did inspire some of the cards I'm going to be sharing with you. There's another one of the Light and Wonder dies in a different color palette there for even more ideas. That's so pretty. This is a beautiful collection, and I shared it earlier in my unboxing and suggested some like hunting photos. It, of course, is perfect for fall and Thanksgiving, but it has like a vintage or kind of a retro look to it, but definitely great for hunting photos. Here's a close-up look at the autumn toile paper, and of course I love the color scheme, the browns and the off-whites and greens. We've got some gray in here, but the little fox paper just really, really is gorgeous. And rumor has it, the paper pumpkin set coming out this month coordinates with this. Now you have until the 10th. If you want to get this month's paper pumpkins, you have until the 10th of the month to subscribe, or you can just get like 1 month and then they ship it to you. But it is going to coordinate with this collection. So I absolutely love the little pumpkin patch. And I did use some of these on some cards. It just reminds me of my garden right now. We've got corn and we've got pumpkins, and everything is just looking so pretty and fall-like out there. So love the stripe. We've got some trees. You can see why I think this would be great for hunting. We've got some deer out in the meadow there, and then of course you have some pheasant paper here, and then nice little supporting patterns to go along with those. So let me set these to the side and show you the cards I've been creating. I really enjoyed using the earth and metallic paper with this collection. It is so pretty. It's just this rich kind of coppery bronze, great for fall, but you'll see how it really dressed up these projects here. So I got this whole suite. So here's the Amber Autumn set, and this has some nice wishes. Oh, you know what? Simply the best. I was thinking that was from my stash. That was on the Aurora Lights cards I made. I used that for my sentiment. Anyway, side note, but we've got Autumn Wishes. You can see that here. And then I've stamped this, and I actually stamped it in early espresso and then colored that in with my Stampin' Blend markers. So you can see I've added some of this ribbon, which is part of this collection. It's so cool. It has such a great little natural texture. And then if you recognize the embossing folder, that is actually from the Peaceful Garden, that wintry blue collection. So they work great for all seasons. I mean, really, you can do so much with this. So don't limit yourself to just, using it with the Peaceful Garden collection. It's absolutely perfect for this as well. So I used the coordinating dies to cut out that metallic paper and then the inner portion there. And then we've added just a few of these gorgeous little dots that go along with this collection here. And I really think this is beautiful. So this card was inspired by another demonstrator, and her name's Amy. It was Stamp with Amy K. That's who inspired me. She didn't have the ribbon on hers, but otherwise it was very similar. So that is one card. Now, this card here, the Amber Autumn, comes with these dies that cut out the acorns and the pumpkin, but also this card like background here with the oak leaves on there. Isn't that stunning? Really gorgeous. There's that really cool ribbon again on the bottom behind my sentiment. I put autumn wishes again, and you're probably wondering, where did those fabulous pumpkins come from? Well, I'm going to tell you. This is the Beautiful Pumpkins Stamp and Die set, and this is part of the online release. So it's not in the catalog, but it is available as of today. So you can see we've got layering pumpkins here, and I have done just that. I've stamped them on basic beige, and the bottom layer I used pumpkin pie. And the top layer, I used Cajun Craze. And for this little pumpkin, because we have these type of pumpkins growing in our yard with the green on them, we call them Mr. Stripey. But the base layer is the pumpkin pie, and then I did Mossy Meadow. The background cardstock is Mossy Meadow also, and this is on a basic beige card base here. But isn't that really, really pretty? And then on the inside, we stamp the little leaves going up. So you have this, you can die cut the leaves or you can stamp them. And you can see I've die cut the pumpkin stems as in addition to stamping the, I'm getting tongue tied, too much talking, but you can see we can die cut the pumpkins, and there's the dies for the leaves, and then you can die cut the stem, or you can stamp the stem too. So there's different options, and stamp the vine. So lots of different ways to mix and match those, but I just think they're so pretty. I love pumpkins. I use them all the time. So those will be making an appearance again coming up soon here on my channel on a scrapbook layout. So love this card. I think this one's my favorite. So we have those two. And this was inspired by this one in the catalog. So you can see they used this stamp with that. I just switched it up and used the pumpkin stamp. So also inspired by the catalog, you can see right here. And side note, this is a one sheet wonder. So they tell you like how to cut all those and then how you can use them on the cards. And they've got lots of different techniques going on here. So you can see they're actually using their markers to color it because it's just like a monochromatic type background. But that's a fun idea to try. But this card right here, focus, that is what inspired this card that I'm about to share with you. But you can see I did change it up just a bit. So we have tone on tone. We've used that gorgeous card background from the Amber Autumn in basic beige there. And then, sorry, that was out of focus. I cut the tree from the pattern paper. I've die cut the deer from our autumn trees. So this tree is larger. This is a big tree. This has a red rubber stamp, has a bunch of dies. There's standalone dies. If you stamp and cut the tree, you can see that's pretty big. That would actually take up a whole card front. But there's also smaller trees in here. Here are the deer. So you can see that there. I have embossed on pecan pie cardstock the word thanks. And then this is cut from the pattern paper also. So you can see they're a smaller scale. This stamp set matches that, but you can see it's quite a bit bigger. So I added or cut that from the pattern paper. And this little bit, so this is not on the inspiration card. I thought to add this myself, and it's the metallic paper. And if you look closely, it is embossed. And again, that is our Peaceful Days embossing folder. So I just took a strip of the metallic paper and I put it here under the leaves and ran it through my embossing folder. So you get these great little leaf texture to dress up your cards. And doesn't that make like a big wow statement, just adding that little bit there? So pretty. So again, I'm getting a lot of mileage from that embossing folder. So this one, this one, this one, and then remember that fun fold I learned from my friend Jama? Well, I did that same exact card design and use the pumpkins. So we have our gorgeous little pumpkins there. And then this one here, I wanted a lighter one. So I had a trio and I did that one in, I want to say, crushed curry and pumpkin pie. So it's got a little yellow undertone. So again, you can see the Everyday Arches dies. And then there's my little strip of embossed metallic paper. And then on the inside, I stamped that vine in Mossy Meadow. Now you're probably wondering where this paper came from. The back cardstock is Early Espresso. This paper is from Boho Vibes, which is a 6x6 paper pack in the annual catalog. And I was happy to find this beautiful green paper in there. And it was just what I wanted for my project. So Boho Vibes on the paper. But yeah, really fun card. Really had a good time making these. I absolutely love fall, and the weather is just starting to turn here, and that means I get to bring out all my fall decor. I'm so excited. I thought I'd show you. This is the Everyday Arches die set that I've been using on those fun fold cards, but these are really neat and they have this nice little dotted decorative detail. And I love nesting dies because you can do a lot of cool layering things with them. So I just wanted to show you those. Now, as we turn the page, you can see this is the designer series paper for the Keeping Traditions and the sticker sheet. So we already looked at that. You can get coordinating cardstock in a pack. So this is a great way to start your cardstock collection because you're just getting 2 sheets each of these coordinating colors. And this is the two-tone cardstock. So really it's like getting double the colors because it's light on one side and darker on the other. This is called Keeping Traditions also and goes along with the suite or with the set. And I really like this because that is going to make a great title and subtitles. I really like to add wordy bits to my layouts. And you can see here, they actually created some tone-on-tone stamping and made a fun background image using this stamp set. It is a clear stamp, but I really love this one, December Documented. That's like one of those little stamps that you can just put on every layout and sneak it in. The postage stamp's cool, but yeah, I really like it. And then you could do, so you put these in the postage stamp. I bet they would fit. It kind of looks like it was designed that way, but I think this will be a handy little stamp and I can't wait to use that. I still haven't finished repackaging these because it's been a crazy month. So here we have our Peaceful Days paper pack and sticker sheet. Again, same thing. You can get the coordinating cardstock. And this stamp set I did get because it's a great title stamp. These are the good days and my happy place is wherever I'm with you. So I love those title stamps and you can use them over and over again. So I already got that guy organized in my title stamps here, but you can see what that looks like. But this would be great to put like in a, either one of these would fit very nicely in a circular element on the layout. But we have some cute little filler stamps too. And I love the bird with the, doodly florals on the wings. I think that's super cute. We have, did I mention earlier, my friend, maybe I already mentioned it, but it's worth mentioning again. My friend Chelsea just shared a video. She redid the scrapbooking workshop for this collection. They are stunning. If you have not checked out her video, you have to go see her layouts. They are absolutely gorgeous. So here, oh, this is fun. This is funny. So I did get this and I actually used this on a fall layout that's going to come out here very soon. I don't want to give it away. You guys have to watch the video to see my scrapbook layout. But I did use the squirrel and there's a coordinating punch with this. So the punch only cuts out the squirrel that's like facing directly away. The one that's kind of at an angle, you would have to fussy cut yourself or just stamp it on a circle or something. So you can kind of build a little scene and there's the outline, and then you can put the color on the squirrel. So this is cute. Go nuts, it's your birthday. Can't wait to see you again. May you gather happiness. I got this because I feel like I scrapbook a ton of nature, but there's always squirrels. So I thought this would be a nice little woodland critter to have in my stash, and the punch is nice too. So really funny story. I just flew to a team scrapbooking retreat in Colorado, and my suitcase, I travel in a carry-on, but my scrapbook supplies, you have to check those. And my bag was at like 48 pounds or right around there when I left. Well, we got so many goodies at the retreat that I was over the 50-pound limit coming back. So I was trying to find heavy things to shove in my carry-on, and this has got some weight to it. So this was one of the things I grabbed. I grabbed this and my stamping blocks. Well, I didn't think we were going to make it through TSA. They almost took my squirrel punch from me. And of course, they pulled my bag aside and took it all apart. And the guy's got his gloves on and he's looking and he can't quite figure out. And he's like, oh, those are really sharp. And I'm like, it's a punch. It's a paper punch. Like, just really trying to, just talk him into letting me keep my squirrel punch. And I did keep my punch, and the guy was so funny. So he was an older gentleman, and apparently his dad worked in TSA before him, who has since passed away. But he's like, I wish my dad was still here because he hated squirrels, and that would have been so funny for him to get this. So we had a good laugh. And then I posted something on Facebook about almost losing my squirrel, and the comments are hilarious. If you guys don't follow my Facebook page, you might want to go check that out because the TSA stories were hilarious. Let me find this die set. So this is the branching out stamp and die set, and I didn't get the stamp. I just got the dies, and I'm thinking I might regret that because those are cute, and I like the little scatter splatter stamps on that one, but I definitely wanted the dies. That was an instant add to cart for me because, again, we have nesting dies with this fun little shape, but then we've got a miniature pine cone, sprigs, and some berries. So those are what I showed you earlier when I added to that mix and match ephemera. I added the little sprigs. That is what this is. So it cuts out two, and that's one set, and then I just cut one in half and tucked it there. And then this one, same thing. You've got the sprigs there and then the berries. That's the berry stamp. And I didn't actually use the pine cones, but I have some right up here. That's what the little pine cones look like. So actually these would have been cute had I just, tucked them in there. They'd have been very cute. So that is what the little pine cone looks like. Anyway, they didn't make it onto this card. They'll make it onto a future project. But this is the branching out set. So again, you can get it as a bundle, and you do save 10% when you take advantage of the bundle. But I just got the die set. And this is cool too. It's like a little berry border or like a garland or something. I thought it was neat, but can't wait to use that more often. So branching out die, and then this is words for this season, which are dies. These are cool because there's so many different seasons. So this is a die word set, and I know you can't really appreciate them there. I already put them on a magnet, but so you can mix and match. Stay open. You can mix and match with this stamp set here. And you could do Christmas greetings and whatnot, because you'll see there's a banner in here, and these are designed to work with that banner. But you can mix and match these. So there's Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas or Happy Wishes, Autumn Wishes. So we've got fall with the autumn. There's New Year. There's holiday. There's even Halloween in here. So really this covers quite a few things with the mixing and matching. So you can see how they used it on a tag there, but these are going to be great on scrapbook layouts too. Honestly, that was kind of my primary reason for getting those. And again, you'll see them coming up on that fall scrapbook layout. Same layout with the squirrel. I had all sorts of fun with that one. So that is the words for the season dies. And then we get into some snowflake goodness. And I had fun with these too. So they are very pretty. Let me grab this set. So this is a fun set because you have this great big stamp, a clear stamp, and then you have all of these dies, snowflake dies, and this like you could cut out the paper, layering dies, and then you have stencils. So these are layering stencils. So you can use these together or independently. So I think the combination of possibilities is really limitless here. So I did show you this scrapbook layout earlier, and I did use the snowflake dies. You can see those here. And I just did single layer. These are designed to layer up, but I used them as large embellishments. So, and then the stamp, we've got this little tiny snowflake cluster, and that's how I did the background stamping that you can see there. But I also have some cards, and this is the first one. So this is more of that peaceful garden paper collection there. And for the snowflake, I used this one with a white paper, and then I used this one to cut out vellum. Can you see that there? I wanted it really soft. You can see the vellum layer there, which is kind of translucent. And then I used this one for the top layer, and I cut that out of white glitter paper. Now, I don't think Stampin' Up! Has glitter paper, but I do, and I want to use it. So I just dug into my stash and then glued those all together. And then I got the idea for the sentiment from this little setup here. So that is a bracket that, or an oval with a little dotted around the edge, and then a warm hello is from this set. And then I used a little bit of blue twine, and again, my trusty 1/8 hole punch to make that into a tag because it does not have a hole. So I just needed to add one, and then popped it up on some foam and added some bling little gems from my stash. But isn't that pretty? Really simple design, but the snowflake itself is stunning. And then I did the same combination on a fun fold card. And this time I used that Secret C, well, they call it dark gray, but it still looks like Secret C to me. Same thing. So I did white, and then I did vellum, and then I did the top layer in Secret C and stamped this in Secret C. And this card here is a fun fold. You can see how that opens up there. And you can write your little message on the inside there. And if you have more to say and you really wanted to add a big sentiment or a message, you could put some white paper on the back of this card and have more room to write. But I absolutely love this snowflake. I think it's really pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? All that sparkle. And I love the vellum too. So very, very fun. So I call them fun folds because they're so fun. Just open it over and over again. Anyway, let me set this aside and we will keep going with all of this fun, crafty goodness. Now, the next set here is the cutest little gingerbread man bundle. So I did get him, and this is a big die set. So the gingerbread actually folds, and you can turn him into a card. So you can decorate him up with the hat and all of the candy bits. I thought these candy bits would be great for Halloween too. You can definitely use those on Halloween pages. And then here is the coordinating stamp. So you can stamp on him, which is what they've done here. They've probably done some like white embossing on pecan pie cardstock, and I think that is so cute. We build gingerbread houses every year. It's a really fun holiday tradition, so that's why I had to have this one. I just think it's cute, and it'll be fun to make some cards out of that little guy too. So on this side, we have a stamp called Gift of Joy, some layering stamps, stockings. You can make some like swag and garland, and it's just a cute little stamp. Kind of has some little doodly look to it with the ornaments. And then this one here is called Stay Warm, and I did get this one, but I didn't have time to create anything with it. But it's a reversible stamp, so you can do the solid and then ink up the background and then flip it over and stamp it again for the detail stamp because they're all symmetrical. So that's what this dark outline means, is that you can stamp the reverse. Now these are the pattern tag dies, and I do also have this and these words, which you can emboss and die cut at the same time. And this I had forgotten on my first order, so I ordered it again and just recently got it and didn't have time to create anything with it. But you're going to see all sorts of fun goodness because you guys know how much I love tags, but they layer. So you can see on this one here, they have the solid tag, and then there's the pine layers or the stripe layer or the little like poinsettia layer. And I think that's really pretty, really like that. So, uh, definitely going to be using that one. Now, this one's called Joyful Tidings, and you can layer those together, it looks like. You can make a continuous wreath going all the way around and do some different things with that. So, very pretty how they've used it for Christmas and fall. And then this one's called Magic and Hope. So, you can see how they have used the pine sprigs and then the bow to make little tags there. Another to and from. So, if you like to make your own gift tags. Now this one, my friend Tanya used this on a layout and it turned out really pretty. So I think it was a tropical layout that she used it on. But you can see how they have it on a layout here. So happy life, happy place, happy days, or happy times would be very great for scrapbook layouts. But then you can use it for a card as well with happy birthday, happy retirement, and so on. Here we have a flower. It kind of looks like a thistle flower. It's called Petal Arrangements. It reminds me of an artichoke. So it's a pretty little flower. And then in the back, it talks about rewards. And I do want to mention this. Now, don't go anywhere. There's still more to share with you. There's a whole bunch of online exclusives, and I've got some more artwork to share too. But I want to mention about the rewards. You definitely want to opt in for this because it allows you to get 10% back on what you're already spending. So I do see, I'll have someone place an order and they've opted out of contact and they've opted out of rewards. And I'm thinking, oh no, you just lost 10% back on that order. So make sure, you want that 10% back on what you are buying so that you can turn around, you can save it up or you can use it on the very next order. So, and then also I want to mention when you opt out of contact, many people think they're opting out of contact from Stampin' Up. Like they don't want a bunch of spam mail and stuff like that. But it also means you're opting out of contact from me. And I send all of my customers a catalog, each new catalog cycle. And if you've opted out, I can't add you to the catalog list. So just make sure if you want those perks that you opt in. And let's take a look at the online exclusives. This is the Elegant Pine Suite. So I did get the entire collection because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I love the snowflakes that are pines. So I have a project to show you so you can see those in action. But we have this beautiful ribbon. These are called faceted snowflakes. So they're red, green, and clear. And they're really sparkly and shiny. You've got a clear stamp, and this set is loaded with dies. So there are so many dies on here. In fact, I think some of those, there's barely room on this sheet, but you have all of these pine cones and little dies that coordinate with the stamp image that you can layer and stack up. So I created this card. It's actually from the website. So when you go to the website to see this collection, this is one of their examples. And I stamped the pine or the snowflakes, the pine tree snowflakes, in old olive and then shaded spruce in the center. I've used these sprigs here. So you can see how they're in a center. So you could like die cut a bunch and connect them and make a snowflake out of die cuts. But I have just gone in and tucked them. And then the pine cones, you have a base, which I cut from Basic Beige, and then I cut the top layering piece from Early Espresso. I used gold embossing powder to heat emboss Warmest Wishes, which is from this. And again, this is inspired from the actual artwork that you'll see online. So that's where I got the idea from this card. And it's really, really beautiful. This paper is from the Autumn Toile paper collection. That's where that background piece came from. Isn't that stunning? Can you imagine that on a winter scrapbook layout where you're out in the forest and it's just wintry and snowy? How pretty would that be as a big embellishment cluster on your layout? So really, really love this one. and can't wait to create more with it. And the papers are just gorgeous. This one's my favorite. So I just flip these over. We'll go through them really quickly because I did share them in my unboxing video. And they made these patterns with like actual like rock salt, maybe crystals, something like that. Now I'm forgetting, but really, really pretty. Love this one too. You see how those would be great for like winter woodland adventures. So pretty. And then there's this one here. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is one of those cards I just want to kind of set it up and enjoy it myself for a while before I send it out. Now, this is the Gathering Together collection. I got the entire suite. This is an online exclusive. So there's a Gathering Leaves embossing folder, and you can see that's a big embossing folder. We've got these Cajun craze and gold dots, and then the leaves. Now, I showed all this in my unboxing, so I'll just briefly go over it, but these have stitching holes. So you'll see all of this in action very soon on my YouTube channel. I created a double page layout, and I love how it turned out. It's so pretty. So I only have one of these papers because I used it on that layout. But the rest of them, I've got them all flipped over. And they're gorgeous. So the leaf patterns are very similar, but different colorways. But the backs are different. So I just think they're really, really pretty. Very excited about this collection. So gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. There's some twine too. And I don't know, it's missing in action right now, but this, let me hold this up so you can kind of see there's a twine. The twine comes in early espresso and the olive green there, but you can see all of the little bits and pieces that are included in this. Look how they made a garland with the leaves, and they have that stitching detail. It's really, really cool. So I can't wait to share this collection with you. Absolutely love fall. So again, this is a new online exclusive. There is also in the online exclusives the Modern Christmas suite. So I did not get the suite, but it's tough because I really do think it's neat. If you look at the paper collection, it's black and gold and white, and I think it's very fun and sophisticated at the same time. I really like the black and gold, and then there's some very fun whimsical patterns in there. So I did get the stamp here, the ornamental Christmas. I absolutely love the Merry Christmas. I love this little element, and of course the trees are super cute and very usable sentiments. But what really drew me in was the dies. So we have these ornament dies, and the star is really cool. So the trees do coordinate with the trees, but love the ornaments. You've got some ornament toppers here, and the star is really pretty. So let me show you that, and I think you can see it in the gold here. Yeah, so here they die cut that out in the gold, so you can see how that looks there, and I think it's really gorgeous. So I did get that, even though I didn't get the entire suite, but these will be really fun to create projects with. Now, this is another online exclusive. It's called Homemade Treats, and it's all about baking, and I think it's super cute. So it is a red rubber stamp, and then you have the coordinating dies. Plus, you have a cookie sheet. So you can see that cuts out a detailed cookie sheet, and then the rest cut out these images. I've got some extra bits in there because I was playing around with them. But again, gingerbread making, because of the little gingerbread, or cookie making, you got an oven mitt, a rolling pin. You could use those year round if you're baking a cake, even the icing piping. So while some of these are very Christmassy, those items would be good for baking year round. And I did create a December daily page. This is from my previous book, so I wasn't done, and I thought I'd take advantage of these cute stamps. And I had already created the companion page, so I chose papers from my stash to tie into that other page. But you can see all of these in action. So there's the little piping bag and the rolling pin. We've got the oven mitt, and then I die cut this twice. So I die cut the cookie sheet in black, and then I die cut it in foil and just separated out the foil so it was like the inner portion, but you could do the whole thing foil if you wanted to. and we are getting ready to build gingerbread houses. That's Hayden and Desiree, and they are making the icing to glue our little gingerbread houses together. So I thought this was fun. It's beginning to taste like Christmas. I made that my title, and then I just went with the gingerbread men on the cookie sheet there, and then I've anchored everything with some garlands and like pine sprigs, and that's as close to my heart, pine sprig from my stash. And again, I use that all throughout this December daily book, so I wanted it to tie in. And this is day 16 or story 16, so that is why the 16 is there. But you can see how cute those little homemade treats are. I just think they are adorable. And this will coordinate nicely. I have a close to my heart set that has like a wire cookie sheet rack. So I thought these will be fun to mix and match together, but just love how that one turned out. I just realized I forgot to show you, this is part of the Gathering Together stamp set. So this is Gathering Moments, and it has leaves and an acorn and mushroom and some background stamps, and then just some bits. And these do have coordinating dies, and then there are sentiments on there. So that goes with that fall collection. I just forgot to show you that. Now this one I was excited to get because it's a pet theme stamp, and it works for cats and dogs. So it's called Pet Love, and there is a bundle option where you can do the dies and the stamp set there. And I wanted to show you this because of that cute little handkerchief scarf, but I was inspired by this particular card. So there's their version there, and I went ahead and made my version here. So very similar. You can see I got my inspiration, but I used some this background polka dot paper is from my stash. It's an old close to my heart mix-in. And then I followed along. These are all the dies. So how cute is that mouse? I mean, it's a sympathy card, but it's still so cute, right? So you can make the collar and then the little tag there. I popped those up on some foam tape. There's the little fishbone and the mouse for the cat. And then on the inside, I have stamped the little paw prints going up in the coordinating color to match the front. And then I use the paw print stamp to create my own random stamp pattern paper inspired by the card. So these will definitely be very cute as pet themed embellishments. They're pretty good size. So you have the clear stamp and then the dies. So you can use these independently, but for the dog, there's the ball and the bone. And then for the cat, there's the fish and the mouse. And then you have some die cuts for the paw prints or the stamp option too. And then there's the tag or a heart-shaped tag, and then some different combinations for the handkerchief, and of course the collar, which is what I have done here. So I just really, really love how that turned out. I think that's super sweet. So that is called Pet Love, and that is also an online exclusive. I started putting out all my cards, and then I realized I forgot the Halloween workshop. So I did get the Halloween paper pack, and I have some layouts ready to share with you here on my YouTube channel very soon. But there is a scrapbooking workshop and tons of cute stamps. So there's spooky Halloween, and I love the dies with this one because you have the fence and the little haunted house, and of course the cute little cat. Couldn't resist the cat. And then there's this one, Sweet Halloween, with titles, little journaling lines, some scatter splatter stamps, and then Fright Night. So lots of good Halloween stuff. But let me know which card was your favorite, or maybe you can't narrow it down and you like the fall ones or the Aurora lights. And I have officially run out of room and I can't put them all out. So thanks for hanging out with me today, everyone. And I'll be sharing these over time on my, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. And I hope you were inspired. I can't wait to share even more from these collections with you on my YouTube channel. Have a wonderful day and thanks for watching. Bye.